Hi, I'm David Farland. I'm a New York Times best-selling author with over 50 books to my credit. And today I'd like to talk about one of my favorite books, Of Mice and Magic. Of Mice and Magic is a comic fantasy story for kids. It's about a little boy, 10-year-old Benjamin Ravenspell, who desperately wants a pet. And his mother gets him a pet mouse for Christmas. But he soon discovers that his pet mouse actually has magical powers. And she turns him into a mouse too, and forces him to go on a quest to free all the mice in the world from the pet shops. As a kid, I loved playing with small animals. I always had a frog in my pocket or was out hunting for grasshoppers. And that love of animals stayed with me all through my life. Indeed, my brother was a wildlife biologist, and as a teenager I used to go out with him and I would help him catch mice. We would go into the mountains and we were looking to find out what kind of mouse-like creatures lived up there. And there are all different kinds of mouse-like creatures. If you look at a shrew, for example, a shrew is kind of like a lion. They're complete carnivorous animals. They eat mainly insects and other forms of meat. And so they look like a mouse, but they're not quite a mouse. A mouse, on the other hand, is an omnivore. They love peanut butter. That's what we use for bait most of the time. But they also will eat small insects and pretty much anything that they come across. So they're omnivores like a bear or like a human. And then, of course, there are voles. Voles are fascinating. Voles are complete vegetarians like a deer. But the great thing about voles is that there are just some fascinating things that voles will do. For example, where we lived in the Willamette Valley, we had a type of vole, the Willamette Valley vole, that lived underwater part of the year. So it was kind of like a beaver. Whenever the fields would flood, the voles would go ahead and live down in their burrows, but then they would swim out to look for dinner by swimming around and finding little pieces of grass to chew on. The singing voles of Alaska that would call predators to their lair, then duck away and hide as soon as they got near, and that kept them from disturbing other voles that lived in the colony. This has been one of my favorite books now for several years, and I'm getting ready to write the next book in the series called Swarm, the Small Wizard's Academy of Restorative Magic, in which my characters Ben and Amber go to learn how to use Amber's powers. So I'm looking forward to writing many more books in this series, and I hope that you'll follow me.